And welcome to the beautiful Veranda Inn. The Veranda Inn was built in 1907, and it was built as a hotel strictly for reunioning Confederate. Come on through.
Okay. Sorry.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful inn. You're going to enjoy it.
Thank you.
It was built specifically to host Civil War veterans. After the Civil War, veterans were reunioning all across the South, and a lot of hotels popped up to allow these folks to reunion, and that is why the original hotel was built, called the Holberg Hotel. And if you look over, you'll see Holberg Fine Furniture, same family. So the Holbergs did build this house as a hotel. It's always been a hotel. It was never a private home. However, there are a few people who lived here as a private residence. A couple of people lived here while they were renting out rooms. Now, I want you to imagine this property, this structure isn't here yet. In the late 1800s, early 1900s, that building wasn't built. But we want to follow chronologically some of the people who stayed here, and one in particular that lingers here, and his name is Marion Holberg. Marion Holberg died in 1900 at the age of 3. The building wasn't built until 1907. However, if you stay in room 5, he is a very playful spirit. Have reported to the staff little things happening, and they say, well, it's just Marion. Now, everyone, we're gifted a soul by the Lord, and we're supposed to be gifted somewhere more or less 100 years. Well, if you died at the age of 3, you've got a lot of energy left to burn. So this is why mostly we have child spirits, and they do linger playfully, and Marion lingers here. Now, he did die as a result of this piece of property. So look out, and there, imagine no buildings, farmland as far as the eye could see. Cotton is what was growing here in Georgia. Cotton was king. After the Civil War, Atlanta was still known as Terminus. And Terminus, why is Atlanta even a town? It doesn't have a port, right? What did it have? It had railroads. And Terminus was a railroad hub after the Civil War, expanding across Georgia. If any Walking Dead fans? On The Walking Dead, there's a map with Terminus in the center. That's an accurate map.
Oh, really?
It's a historically accurate map. Wow. The railroads just went sort of like spider webs out all over Georgia. And one came here to what is now Sonoy. The first thing you had, if you had a little town, was you had a cotton gin to allow the farmers to come in and trade their cotton, okay? So that's how towns started. Then you get churches, you get schools, sometimes in the same building, houses, and people start coming. Well, Marion Holberg lived in this area when this property was the farmland of his family. No building here when he passed away. But he passed away as a result of something that happened to him in this backyard. There is a well in the backyard, and if you notice out back, if you wander the gardens, which we encourage you to do, there is a stone chicken by the well. It's an homage to Marion. Marion Holberg in 1900 at the age of 3 happened up on the well, drank some water from the well, and didn't know that a chicken had fallen in the well and tainted the water. So he died. Oh, yes.
I thought maybe you was going to say drowned.
No, he drank the water that was tainted, and he died of the effects of shaking. And actually, some people in room 5 say they get the shakes, and Marion would have been in a fever right before he passed away, so that makes sense. So he lingers here, not because he ever lived here, but because of something that happened to him on the property 7 years before the structure was built.
Now that chicken, wasn't that his pet? Or just a
that
chicken?
I don't know. I've never heard that before, but maybe.
I thought I understood that was his little pet chicken.
That's the first time hearing that. Could be.
Oh.
I mean, we really don't have anybody left around to tell us all the stories. We do have Marion's obituary, and Marion's obituary, we have read it in the backyard during ghost tours. and we always have some sort of a response. We've had a beautiful German Shepherd that was a service animal, made no peep the whole evening for the tour. I start reading that obituary, and oh, he starts howling. Dogs have an extra sense. We love dogs. So that is what happened to dear Marion and why he lingers here. He didn't ever live in the house, but he died as a result of something that happened in the backyard. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Now, like I said, we do go out there for ghost tours and we talk about young Marion. One time in this room on a Friday the 13th, which we just had one of, and guess what? We have another one next month. Interesting. We were doing a paranormal event in this building, and it was a Friday the 13th, and people had their meters going, and it was all ghosty and paranormal. And before I told the story of Marion, a woman had the word chicken and drop came up on her devices.
Wow.
What was the drop?
Cool.
The chicken dropped in the well.
Oh, that's right.
The
Oh.
chicken dropped in the well. It also said August, and he passed away the month of August.
Oh, wow.
I had a couple of people who left the room very quickly
I-
after all that happened. So before we start talking about the people who did live and sleep here, we wanted to share Marion, who never lived in the building, but he certainly lingers here. So in 1907, this was built as a hotel, the Holberg Hotel. And like I said, it was to reunion with Civil War soldiers. Seems kind of silly that they would get together and, talk about the good times. Right. But they did. We're going to go around the corner and meet up with one of the Civil War veterans who lingers on the porch here. So we're going to walk this way. You got to get up again.
I know, right?
Yeah, very comfortable.
Marion. Not the rest of us. Oh my, here we are.
Boy.
Oh, interesting. Well, come on in. Like I said, the Civil War soldiers reunion here. And this particular Civil War soldier, I'll wait for everybody to gather up. And don't let me forget, underneath the stairwell when we go through the building, there is a photograph, an actual photograph of some of the reunioning soldiers that's under the stairwell. So that's kind of cool. So, Civil War veterans, we're reunioning here. And that is related also to upstairs where we're going to meet Margaret Mitchell in a little while. So this particular Civil War soldier, he fought in the Battle of Brown's Mill. The Battle of Brown's Mill was led by a general named Wheeler. Now, years ago, when I was researching this particular story, it said he was a wheeler. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out, well, what is a wheeler? Do they fix wheels? I don't know what that means. It meant that he was under the command of General Wheeler. Now, this soldier fought in that battle at Brown's Mill, and he was the cavalry. What did that mean? You were?
On a horse.
Up on a horse. Now, if you're fighting in a battle, I'd rather do it on a horse than on my feet. A little bit safer, right? So he was up on a horse. Well, this particular battle of Brown's Mill is the only battle where the South pushed Sherman back. The only one. Other than that, Sherman just marched his way to the sea and gifted Lincoln the Civil War, as we won the war, and he gave it to Lincoln as a Christmas present, actually. He gave the South to Lincoln. So this particular gentleman was fighting the Battle of Brown's Mill up on his horse. Pretty safe, a safer way to do it. Well, General Wheeler wanted to push back the Union troops, and he saw that they were in a narrow pass. Well, Wheeler knew that his men on horseback would not be able to fit through this pass on their horses. So he said, men, I've got to pick a few people to basically do a suicide mission. Okay? So he came up with this plan. And the plan was for the soldiers to count off 1,
2,
3.
4.
The fourth person would dismount from his steed and go forth with just a bayonet, a death sentence. But it was necessary. Well, this gentleman right here, he was calling out the numbers 1,
2,
3,
4.
but he hesitated with the 4. Why?
He's scared.
He was scared. He was just 16 years old. Scared, petrified. He hesitated with the number 4. Next to him, a comrade in arms on their horse, a man named William Culpepper, whose family settled in Sonoy. He called out the number 4 for his friend. It was a
noble sacrifice.
It was a noble sacrifice. And he called out the number 4 and went forth, and of course he was killed in action. Now, this particular Civil War veteran, he came here to reunion at the Veranda Inn, and he had another mission in mind. He wanted to go to the porch of the Culpepper family to share with him the heroic actions of their loved one. Now, the story is documented in a family Bible. In these days, we didn't have internet, we didn't have, a lot of times things were documented with simply the Bible or a diary. And so that is how we know. Now, a little side note, what did they give you in your rations, sir? Every Union soldier and some from the South were given Necco wafers. Now, Necco Company, you can see he's been chewing into the candy a bit. If you look at the packaging, still, it says 1847. In 1847, a pharmacist in Boston, Massachusetts, was looking to make a throat lozenge. Oh, he loved that. It was so nice. And he invented what now is Necco wafer. Because folks said it's like a candy, and they could make more money selling candy than they could throat lozenges. So the soldiers, mostly for the North, but some in the South, were given these wafers in part of their pack. Because this isn't melting in your pocket, okay? Well, folks were getting letters from their loved ones, and their loved ones were saying, we love those Necco wafers that were getting sent, send more. It was delightful, they enjoyed them, and they didn't melt in their pockets. So wives and sisters and loved ones started writing letters to the troops enclosing Necco wafers. And then somewhere along the line, some wife or sister got the idea to write a note on the Necco wafers. Love you, hug you, marry me. What does that sound like? What do we know today?
Candy.
Bound.
Conversation hearts.
Yeah.
So after the Civil War was over, the Necco Company, which is the New England Confectionery Company, started shaping candies into hearts and writing words. And that's where we get the conversation heart. It went to war. Interesting stuff. So, thank you for your service, sir. We appreciate you. Now, another gentleman who stayed here early on was running for president when he was here. So we're going to sneak in the side door, and we're going to meet William Jennings Bryan. Let's go this way. Nice meeting you, sir.
You can go in and change right now.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you, dear. Y'all come on in. Y'all come on in. Oh, I'm doing fine. Y'all come in and
Come on
join
in,
me.
come on in.
You know, the music is really helpful on these strenuous campaign trails.
It's very inspiring, sir. Very, very inspiring. Now, William Jennings Bryan ran for president 3 times. The first 2 times was a whistle stop on a train campaign. When he made his way to the Veranda in 1908, he changed it to a porch campaign.
Why, yes. I believe that the porch campaign will connect a lot better this time than those bully pulpits. Now, I feel like my stance on clean food and safe drugs is very strong. Now, these Republicans, they're refusing to divulge who is donating to their campaigns. Now, I think that big business is running our country and is stamping out the voice of the common man.
Well, perhaps folks will hear your message now more clearly. And some things never do seem to change, do they, sir? You are well known for your Cross of Gold speech. Can you explain that to the folks?
Why, yes. Now, you see, the gold standard was killing the farmers. They could not pay back their debts on a dollar that was not backed by gold. Now, I believe that we should invest in the hard-working Americans instead of getting debts with foreign sovereigns. I believe that the United States should be admired as a republic, and this flag should be loved and not feared.
Interesting. Those that think likewise are certainly in the minority, though, sir.
It is not wrong to be in the minority when you are right. Now, what's right, I believe, will be the majority one day.
Interesting. Yes, sir. You like to you'd like to eliminate tariffs as well.
Oh, yes, yes. I believe that every business should prosper without government overreach, especially when it's those same politicians putting into law that are the ones getting backed by big businesses that are benefiting from those tariffs.
Interesting. Mr. Bryan was never elected to the office of president. However, Woodrow Wilson did sign him up as the Secretary of State. And that was in 1913, I believe, sir. You had a belief in staying neutral with other countries. Did you not, sir?
Yes, you see, in 1913, I believed that we didn't have the ability to protect our U.S. citizens that were traveling abroad, and the president disagreed with me. Well, in 1915, the Germans sank the Lusitania, and 125 fellow United States citizens died. Now, the president decided to send a letter to Germany warning them of going into the neutral waters. But he did not include any of the other countries like Great Britain to know what was going on. Now, I believe that all countries needed to know the dangers of traveling in neutral waters. That disagreement eventually led to me resigning. But of course, you all know that not long after that was World War I.
Interesting. Mr. Bryan, you stayed active and you actually testified up in Tennessee during the Scopes trial. Your position on Darwinism is well documented.
Yes, yes. Science is magnificent, but it does not teach morals.
True, true. William Jennings Bryan was harassed by the press, imagine that, as a overzealous Christian. After the trial, after he testified in the trial, just weeks later, he died in his sleep.
I have fought the good fight. I have run the race, and I have lived a life of faith.
Thank you, sir.
What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer.
Lovely. Thank you, sir, for letting us visit. I want you to know that this particular piano right in front of Mr. Bryan is the piano that William Jennings Bryan brought here to the Veranda Inn. This is the actual model. It doesn't work, but it is the model. Let's go upstairs and meet Miss Margaret Mitchell. And be careful on the steps. Hold the rail. Take your time.
Wait for the wife.
Go ahead.
There's room 5.
There's my room.
If you're staying downstairs in room 1, if 5 is not occupied, you hear the sound of like people moving furniture around.
Yes, yes. I've heard that. I mean, I heard it.
Oh, you literally heard it?
Yes, it has happened.
There you go. We have evidence.
Yes.
No, I just want in. Miss Mitchell? Come on in, everyone.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting visitors.
Keep talking to her. Come on, everybody. She's hiding her work under the rug. Margaret Mitchell was known to do that. She didn't have a lot of faith in her writing skills, and so she would tuck them under the rug. You don't need to hide your work, Miss Mitchell. We all believe that you are a talented writer.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, but I consider myself to be a better reader than a writer. It's funny you should say that, though. My old teacher, Miss Paisley, used to say something similar. She would always encourage me to submit my work. My husband would encourage me as well, and in fact, he submitted a few things without my knowledge. Now, I did enjoy writing articles for the Constitution, but writing fiction is a little bit different. Well, one day I found myself laid up with a bad ankle, and I had an injury, and I just got so bored. I kept sending my husband to the library with books until one day he said, "Peggy, I am tired of lugging these books back and forth to the library for you. You might as well just start writing yourself." Well, by the way, folks typically call me Peggy, so you all may as well.
Lovely, Miss Peggy. Now, your high school teacher and your husband were very true about your ability to write. And I've also got a room full of your fans right here with me today.
Oh, that's lovely. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful hotel. I've been spending most of my afternoons on the veranda speaking to the veterans of the Southern Rebellion. They keep telling stories of the screams of the shells. They tell stories of the onslaught of the charges and the grisly aftermath, which truly is a terrible thing.
Where, folks, you do need to know that Miss Margaret Mitchell had a true love before her husband, and he actually died of injuries sustained in the battle in World War I.
I like to leave that part of my life on the battlefields of France. Burdens are meant for shoulders strong enough to carry them. Now, losing Charlie was a tragedy that took much to overcome, but after all, tomorrow is another day.
Oh, where'd I get that quote from? Tomorrow is another day. So,
Yes.
you are writing a new story, and there is a heroine. Can you tell us a little bit about her?
Well, I can tell you a little bit that her name is Pansy, and she is fighting to protect not only her home, but her way of life. Now, my father, he loved history. I used to listen keenly as he'd tell me stories about the history of Atlanta, both good and bad. My mother was a strong woman as well, who lobbied for women's rights, and I think this book will do a good job of telling both the true history of the South that I love, and also reflecting my mother's influence in having women who are both strong and capable. It's very important these times. I do hope I can get these notes in order and get a novel that someone will truly enjoy and that will show my view of the South. But now, if you'll excuse me, I do need to get back to my writing. It won't be too long before I have to leave to get back to the dump.
The dump? What's the dump?
Oh, that's sorry. That's just what I like to call my apartment back home in Atlanta.
And you, as moderns, you can still visit that apartment of Margaret Mitchell in downtown Atlanta.